Most important witnessing tip is what? Turn answer. What would you say the most important thing is? Not go to the next slide, just something else. Take a guess, man.
Prayer.
Prayer is very important, but besides the spiritual end, which is very important, let's say that
Be prepared.
be prepared. There's something even more important than that.
Friendly.
Ah, very good. 10 points. You gotta be nice. You gotta be polite and respectful. Suppose you're the world's most intelligent creationist, and you talk to someone and say, "What an idiot you are for believing that stupid stuff. Where did you get your degree? And man, are you dumb?" What are they going to be thinking? Get away from me. I don't want to be insulted. They're going to turn you off and get away. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 13, if you don't have love, you're a clanging cymbal, right? You're annoying. We can't be annoying. We have to respect our teachers, our co-workers, our friends, and treat them with, I have a very important gift I want to share with you, not I want to beat you up and make you feel bad. So if you don't have that attitude where you care about the people, don't go witnessing, okay? But you've got to be nice. After you're nice, witness like Jesus did. Ask questions. I counted the red question marks in my New Testament. Guess how many questions Jesus asked in the New Testament? Raise your hand, I'll take 3 guesses, and I'll give a free book to the closest guess. The $2 book. Raise your hand. Yes.
50.
50? Yes.
200.
200? One more guess?
17.
Oh, you should have said 201. You win. You get a free book. 314. He got, and it's a fun study, question after question after question. You ever think he asked a question to learn? I don't believe so. Every question he asked was to initiate a conversation and to begin a witness, or sometimes a lesson. Same thing with you. The best way to start a witness is to what? Ask a question. Suppose you meet someone who says, well, I believe in a theory of evolution.
Why?
Perfect. One-word question, why? Very, very powerful question. Suppose someone comes up to you and says, I'm an atheist. What question do you ask?
Why?
Why?
Okay, why is a good one, but I'm going to give you a better one. Every time I meet someone who says they say, I'm an atheist, I ask them a question. I say, swear to God? They say, yes. But you keep it light, say, no, I'm just kidding. We're just talking, this is an important subject. Just joke. Then you ask them, why are you an atheist? It's never because of science. Well, I have studied the human eye, and I believe that the optic properties of the eye. And the real reason, well, let's take some guesses. Why do you think someone's an atheist? The real reasons. Yes?
Because they're angry at God.
Right. I think that's a very big reason. Bitterness. You know why? My best friend that I play volleyball with is a hardcore atheist. He doesn't want to hear too much about God. His wife told me they had a 1-day-old child die. Ever since then, he says, turned off his heart towards God, and he chooses his life to be bitter towards God. What's another reason someone could be an atheist?
God disappointed.
Right, right. Bitterness. Anything else?
They're angry at others.
All the chaos going on.
Pardon me?
All the chaos going on, it seems like it's out of order.
Okay. Things that seem out of order, which is often bitterness.
Education.
Sure. If they've been taught this their whole life, I want to emphasize, just because someone is an atheist or an evolutionist does not mean they have horns and they are evil. They've been taught it their whole life. So I guess it's true. A lot of people just say, that's what they've taught me from kindergarten until I earned my PhD. I guess it's true. Peer pressure is a big reason. Okay? And those are the people I hope to reach. Someone open-minded with the peer pressure, besides the other people as well. What's another reason? Yes?
They don't want to change their life.
Yes. The rules in the Bible, are they real easy to keep? No, it's a struggle, a daily struggle. A lot of people say, I don't believe in those rules because I don't even believe in God. So those are the main reasons. Peer pressure, it's all they've ever been taught. They don't like the rules. And bitterness. It's never been, the kangaroo knows how to, it's the size of rice, it knows to climb into the pouch. Yeah, that happened by chance. No, information doesn't happen by chance like that. It's an emotion-based, and that's why we have to have compassion for them. They're in an emotional war.
Has he tried to have any other kids?
Well, he has 2 older kids, and they get in nothing but trouble. He's had a hard time with his children. That was his last child. Yeah, he's on a hurt inside. But keep your evolutionist and atheist friends in prayer. Okay, after you ask a question, often hard for people, you listen and you don't interrupt them. Wonderful thing happened once at Cal State Fullerton. A non-believing kid said to me, "You're different than other Christians that witness here." I said, "How?" Guess what he said?
You listen.
You listen. Oh, that's nice to hear, but I wish other people did too. If you are witnessing, let them talk 20 minutes if they want, okay? They will enjoy the conversation. Even when they're done, pause, okay? Let them go as long as they want. And then, you gotta practice. How many people here play or used to play sports a lot? Any of you? What was your favorite sport, or is?
Baseball.
Okay, how did you get to be better?
Practice, practice, practice.
Were you great the first time you played?
No,
No, but did you quit?
no.
Second time you got a little bit better, third time a little better, et cetera, et cetera. Sometimes people say, "Oh, I witnessed once, it went terrible." That's how you learn. You learn by your mistakes. But if you're nice and you don't keep it a fight, you ask questions and listen, and if you're not afraid to say, "I don't know, can I get back to you?" You want to have all the answers. But if you're not afraid to say, "I don't know, I'd like to get back to you," or "Can you give me more information on what you said?" There's nothing to fear. You don't have to know everything. You won't die, neither will God, if you don't have an answer to something. Okay. All right, let's see. Well, why don't we take a break now? And I'll just let you dwell on this guy for a little bit. Imagine that's your college roommate. You pull a Bible out of your suitcase. That's your roommate, and after the break, we'll talk about this guy. I went to Google, I typed in anarchist, and found this picture. True story. That's the guy, emotional guy. All right, how many people here
Bible college.
have ever run into someone who's been a little bit intimidating and asked you if you believe in God? How many have? Okay. Well, suppose this guy asked you, how many people would say, "Yes, I do believe in God"? Okay. Suppose he asked you a tougher follow-up question, "Why do you believe in God?" Don't be embarrassed. Who would not have a quick answer on the tip of your tongue? Don't be shy. A lot of people don't. Okay, 1 honest person, 2 honest people. Okay. When I was 13, I was barely hanging on to my belief in God. My best friend was an atheist, and I still remember it. I was in the backyard of my house. My sister was standing to my right, and my friend, his name was John, said, "Bill, do you really believe in God?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Why?" I said, "Ask my sister, she's older." It's absolutely true. I dumped it on her, and what she said is, "Well, it was a hill with 3 crosses, and Jesus died on the middle one." And I said to myself, what a lousy answer. But I didn't have a better one. But that's exactly what she said. But I want to equip you guys with a 1-word answer that you can use with a 4-year-old kid or a PhD at University of Southern California or wherever. 1-word answer, if you get asked, "Why do you believe in God?" And what is it? Let's win round 1 of the little boxing match. You can easily win round 1 and build off of it. So that guy asks you again, "Why do you believe in God?" Within 2 seconds, you say what? Design. Now, the one thing, if I ever get the ear of an atheist, this is the one thing I always like to share with them. First, hold on your hands and try to see if you see any veins flopping around down there. I like to do that, and I ask an atheist, I say, "Do you know how many miles of blood vessels are in the human body?" Who here wants to take a guess?
5 miles per pound.
Oh, okay, 5 miles per pound.
They taught us in school is 185,000 miles of veins, arteries, capillaries.
Okay, 185,000.
That's what we were taught.
Well, what I've found on my little research, it's at 60,000 miles.
60,000.
Yeah, that's on the front page of your comic book. If you're witnessing to someone, you show them that, let them guess. They usually guess C, but it's 60,000 miles. I tell them, you have 60,000 miles of blood vessels in your body. Enough to circle the earth 2.5 times. I'll give you guys the advanced version. some of the diameters of some of your blood vessels are so tiny, only one red blood vessel at a time can pass through it after the nucleus has fallen off. Every second of your life, you have 3 million red blood cells dying. Your body constantly has to make red blood cells because it's designed for the nucleus to fall off, and they only have about a life of 20 days after that. And they have to fall off to fit through the tiniest pipes. Now, one thing I do at work is I design piping systems. Sometimes they look like they were designed by chance, but they weren't. That piping chance has to have work by design. Would anybody believe, suppose you're talking to a skeptic, would anyone believe this 3 foot of tubing happened by chance? No, somebody smart designed it. What about 60,000 miles of blood vessels in a human with just the right diameter for one red blood cell at a time to pass through? Do you think that is design or chance? You ask the skeptic, what is your best explanation? Is this a design or did it happen by chance? What's your best explanation? What they will always say is this. Well, not always, but they often say, nobody really knows. It's a mystery. How many people have heard that before? They say, well, that's why I'm an agnostic. I really don't know. And I respect agnostics. Some of them are really trying to figure it out. But I didn't ask them if they knew if this was design or chance. Did anybody catch the key witnessing question? I didn't ask them if they knew. I asked them for what?
What's the best explanation?
Very good. Thanks, Ed. I didn't ask you if you knew. What's your best explanation? Let me discourage you guys just a little bit. No matter how devout and holy you are, you do not 100% scientifically know that God exists. But through science, it's by far the what? And before you get too depressed about that, without what, it's impossible to please God. Faith. There's still some faith involved. But the question is, what is the best explanation? Went to a medical doctor, and I brought up creation, evolution, and I always ask this question, what is your opinion? Let them go first. He said, well, I'm a medical doctor. Of course I believe in evolution. You know, he believes in evolution, of course. So I asked him about the 60,000 miles of blood vessels. He was pretty close with the answer. He said like 50,000. I said, well, do you think a piping system of 50,000 miles happens by design or chance? His exact words were this. I don't believe there was a virgin birth. So what's he doing? He's smart enough to change the argument. He says, I have a loser of an argument on design. I'm going to start picking on the Bible. I respect you wanting to talk about religion, but I asked you about science and design. Well, he's starting to get pink-faced and emotional. How many of you have seen this? That's because you planted a seed. Nobody gets emotional about a total lie. You touched a nerve. I suggest back off a little bit, keep it friendly. You can plant seeds with the people, and sometimes they just get madder and madder. But that's where that went. You can win round one against the most genius person in the world. You just believe eyes are designed, your nose is designed, your teeth are designed, your throat is following birds, photosynthesis. You keep it there, and you got a good foundation for what your beliefs are. You know, I just did this a couple times. Everybody, just look at the back of your hand again. Just meditate on this. Your fingernails are a gift. Your knuckles are a gift. Your skin is a gift. Your veins are a gift. Your wrist is a gift. You follow me? We have a lot to be grateful for, don't we? Wonderful gifts from God. You have to keep it in perspective. So once again, how many miles? 60,000. Once I was in an airplane talking to a very polite lady. She was kind of a skeptic. There were no clouds in the sky. You can see that distant horizon. I said, just think, your blood vessels go way beyond that horizon, 2.5 times. What a beautiful God. Guess how many miles of nerves you have? 90,000. So, fearfully and wonderfully made. Okay. Who knows what that is? Some of you have heard my lesson. Pardon me, what did you say? Nope. Ah, very good, you remember. It's PowerPoint of Mount Rushmore. It used to be an overhead, now it's Mount. Okay. Mount Rushmore's in South Dakota, sir. It's not here. I know you know. Suppose I was a tour guide, and I had 100 smart people from China. They'd never heard of Mount Rushmore. They'd never seen it until they're right in front of it with me. I get out my laser pen and I say, this happened over billions and billions of years. You have to wave your arms when you say billions and billions of years. And I say, we think about 730 million years ago, a glacier came by and carved out those lips. About 69 million years ago, lightning struck and carved out those nostrils. You notice if I sign a date, it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. About 34 million years ago, animals pecked away and that mustache happened by chance. Would those smart Chinese people believe this is the product of chance over time?
No.
No. Now, very important, they wouldn't know who made it, when it was made, why it was made, or how. But there's no debate about what.
It was me.
It was made by somebody smart. Same thing about God. You can talk about the age of the earth, why God made us, when He did, but start with there is a maker. Little story, suppose we were all walking through a Central American jungle and we pushed away some tall grass. We saw a 60-foot tall pyramid. We would debate who made it, when, why, or how, but none of us would debate what.
That was me.
Yeah. Suppose one person, she said, oh, it happened by chance. I think there was a tornado in a quarry and they all landed here. And nobody would believe that. The debate is other issues, but start with that there's a maker. So I lose my job as a tour guide. I get a job at UCLA teaching freshman anatomy. What's this?
Picture of an eye.
Picture of an eye, very good. And I teach my freshman anatomy class that your eye is the product of millions and millions of years of beneficial mutation, natural selection, that by chance over time, eyes evolve. How long would I keep my job at UCLA? What do you say, forever? Junior high schools always say 2 minutes. They haven't been educated enough yet to know this. But you keep your job as long as you want. Yes?
Well, about a year ago, I was at my ophthalmologist, and he was checking my eye, and something came up, and the way, I said, boy, the eye is really, I said, it's fantastic how it works. And he just came out and said, well, you know, if it's not perfect, the way it is right now, it could never work. Everything has to be in place for it to work. That's how delicate the eye is. What he's really, and we weren't talking about creation, we weren't talking about evolution or whatever. He just came up and said it has to be perfect or it won't work. And that's just,
Well, you can have fun with your doctors and polite fun. How many baseball fans are here? How many have heard of Dr. Louis Yocum? Any of you? Well, he's a famous baseball doctor. Anytime a player gets a shoulder or knee injury, they almost always see Dr. Louis Yocum. He's really, really good. He did knee surgery on me, and he was explaining things on this very, very nice man about how the knee works. And I said, Dr. Yocum, do you think the knee's a design or the result of chance? And he looked at me like I was a small child. He goes, that's a design. I mean, no one knows the human body better than him, but they do not dominate all the intellectual thought, okay? Guys like him know a design when he sees it. But when you go to an eye doctor, it's fun to say, what's the most amazing thing about the eye? Or the foot doctor, what's the most amazing thing about a foot? And they like to talk about their specialty. Then you can ask them, do you think that's a design or happened by chance? After they've told you the most amazing. And I think 90% of medical doctors are not atheists. Do you guys agree? Okay, I'm going to teach you a detail about your eye. I didn't teach this last time. But without moving your skulls or your heads, like everybody look towards that wall. Don't move your head. This wall, up and down. Now you were able to do that. You might take it for granted, but you're able to do it because inside your skull, you've got little things shaped like the letter C called trochlea. You've got 4 in this eye socket and 4 in this eye socket. The little trochlea is like a pulley system, and through the trochlea, what do you think that red thing is with stripes? It's a muscle, right? Well, okay. It's going to come up later, so. The most used muscles in your body are your eye muscles. Even when you're asleep, they're working away. But just think of the friction, the lubrication, and that lasts, could last 120 years. Methuselah's last 969. But when I debate evolutionists, earlier I said evolutionists hate what? I try to get a little details out of them. I ask them, could you briefly explain to me the details of how the eye, the muscle, and the trochlea evolved? Guess what they always do?
Change the subject.
Ignore the subject. They never answer it. So pretend you're an evolutionist and you're going to try to explain the details of how you get an eye, a muscle, and a trochlea. Here's how I would do it. I'd say first, over millions of years, people evolved eyes. But the whole population had to keep moving their heads. Well, a certain segment of the population had some beneficial mutations and a little trochlea showed up. Good for them. What has to evolve next? You need a big, long muscle. What does it have to do?
Get through that,
Go through the trochlea, make a turn, and do what?
come back.
Come back and how? How, by chance, does a muscle attach to an eye? Did it have glue with it? Tape? Stapler? Welding? Solder? Think, one little detail in your body, how by chance does a muscle attach to an eye? But then the muscle attaches to a tendon, attaches to a nerve, the nerves go up to your brain, where by what did you move your eyes? What did you do? Thought. Can you say it nice and loud again? I thought you moved your eye. Think about that, by thought. Now, here comes the deep part of the lesson. How many people here believe you have a soul? Raise your hand real high if you believe you have a soul. You have a soul. You're wrong, you don't. You are a soul. You have a body. Okay? C.S. Lewis wrote about that. And you don't have a soul, you have a body. You are a soul. The real Kimmy Stevens is not her hair and her fingers and her toes. It's her soul. The real you is the party that decides to love or hate. You started out as one little fertilized egg. When you're 100 years old, your body's going to be a lot different. What about your body in 1,000 years from now? It does, right? Your body is constantly changing. The real you is a soul. Well, how do we know we have a soul? How did you move your eyes? By thought. A thought is not physical, okay? A non-physical thought caused you to move your eyes, causes you to raise your hand, causes you to love or to hate. And that's the real you. And if it's not physical, that means it's what? Time-wise. It's eternal, right? Your body's going to fall apart. It's simple thermodynamics, but your soul goes on. And atheists have a big problem with why do we move our eyes? Why do we do what we do? They say, well, it's a chemical response in the brain that triggers you to do that, okay? Well, I always tell them, I'd hate to be having you behind me in a car and you decide to brake or hit the gas based upon a chemical firing in your brain. You follow me? No, they make the conscious decision to brake or hit the gas and things like that.
Everybody wants to see.
That's not the result of chance. Anyways, any comments or questions on that?
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
Is that for me? Okay.
Pizza.
All right. Don't look at it now. How many of you have heard people say no real scientists believe in creation? You ever heard that before? Okay, make 500 copies of this. I gave it to you as a handout. And don't look at it now. Terrific PhDs from great universities with great accomplishments who are all young earth creationists. I got this off the ICR website. If you go to the website, there's hundreds more. This is only about 40. I took the top 40 that I could find. So, great minds disagree. When I was in high school, I thought no scientists believed in creation. But I'd love for more and more high school kids to know that. If you get the junk mail, fold up this piece of paper and send it back to the person with the postage stamp, okay? All right, here we go. Which came first? A chicken or an egg?
Chicken.
How many think a chicken? You remember? From years ago? Wow. How many think an egg? Well, the answer isn't a chicken. You remember from years ago. What was it? 2 chickens. A male and a female. When I'm out of college, I like to ask someone, what's this? Y'all have it. I go, well, which came first? I think it was a chicken or an egg. I think it was a chicken. No, it was 2 chickens. Don't you know anything about sex? We're all adults, it's G-rated. God created sex, and it'll be G-rated. But sexual reproduction is a nightmare for the evolutionists. They have a big problem with sexual reproduction. Think of the what? Letter D.
Diversity.
The details. Think of the details. How in the world does sperm evolve in half the population and eggs in the other half? Oh, well, worms use asexual reproduction. We're not talking about worms, we're talking about chickens. Okay, always bring that up. We're talking about chickens. How in the world does that happen by chance? When I took biology at night, and I really encourage you guys, if you love creation, take biology at night through like a Coastline Community College, do they have it here? Take it at night just for the joy of learning it. Learn all the body systems and rank them, which you think is the most awesomely designed. And nothing compares to reproduction, in my opinion. Just unbelievably beautiful and complex. But how does that happen by chance? Well, an atheist would answer this. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? You say, well, millions and millions or billions of years ago, there was nothing in the universe. And then up popped matter and energy from nothing. Now, this matter and energy is floating around, that violates the first law of thermodynamics, which is in your comic book. And it expanded and filled the universe with hydrogen and helium gas. What's this belief?
Big Bang.
The Big Bang. Then they teach because of gravity, the gases came together. But they didn't just come together, they came together with such force, they formed what?
Gravity.
Stars, and fusion went on inside the stars, because they got to go from hydrogen to the heavier elements. So they imagine the gravity formed stars and fusion, the most intense energy process in the world, and inside the stars, heavier elements were made, and then blew up, and threw the heavier elements into space. They came together and formed the Earth. Here's a problem for the atheist. Fusion cannot make anything heavier than iron. Okay, did you catch that? You can talk to any physicist on that. Fusion can't make anything heavier than iron. Are there heavier elements than iron?
Yeah, lots of them. Lead.
Politely ask an atheist, well, how did that happen? He said, that's a big problem for us. They believe when they were starting to have fusion in some stars from iron, other stars blew up and gave an extra burst of energy and caused more intense compression and pressure to make the heavier elements. Please, come on. Am I missing something here? That's ridiculous. But then they believe these heavier elements are flying around, they join and make our Earth. Some lightning or some energy hits the Earth, a bunch of non-living chemicals become living. By far, in my opinion, the simplest argument with an atheist is how did life originate? It's so simple. The law of biogenesis teaches life only comes from
Life.
life. Well, say, what's your best explanation? You go to a chat room and say, how did life originate? Just stick to that, and you'll be like a bee in the bonnet. And they say, well, abiogenesis. Well, explain it to me. Just yesterday they said, well, a bunch of chemicals mixed and made an acetic acid. Is an acetic acid life? What are you, religious or something? Why don't you go read a book? They are not being scientists at all, but they believe life came from non-life. You got your single-cell organism. I'm going